You see, Mr. Spade, in this world, there is nothing that I want that I cannot ultimately possess. Including the most prized of all the world's treasures, the Maltese Falcon. Well, son of a bitch. Hey Frankensteins, today I'm going to watch the classic film noir, The Maltese Falcon, starring Humphrey Bogart and Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre, directed by John Huston. I have seen this, at least in part, before. I saw it in college, where I fell asleep because college, but I know it's a classic. I just can't remember much about it. The Maltese Falcon. That was a fun film. The Maltese Falcon, I mean, obviously it's a classic. 1941, Humphrey Bogart, directed by John Huston, book by Dashiell Hammett. Humphrey Bogart plays Humphrey Bogart, who's playing Sam Spade, who's a San Franciscan private detective who kind of gets caught up in a web of mysteries and lies as three unsavory types are searching for the jewel-encrusted Maltese Falcon. This is the film that you think of when you think of Humphrey Bogart. This is the film you think of when you think of film noir. This is the film you think of when, just in your mind, you have a private detective from the 40s. Humphrey Bogart is the quintessential private eye. At times he's funny, tough, greedy, and just manly as hell. And what's neat about it is that Dashiell Hammett used to be a Pinkerton employee. They were security. They were kind of the first private detective agency in the United States. Real tough guys. And he based Sam Spade not on any particular person, but on the ideal of what people might want to be. Probably the weakest link in this one is Mary Astor, and she plays Bridget O'Shaughnessy. She's the femme fatale. She doesn't have that vampy look that you might expect in other film noirs by Ida Lupino or Barbara Stanwyck or even Joan Crawford, where, yeah, they just kind of exude this sexuality. She doesn't have it, but as a character, you can't trust her as far as you can throw her. And brother, you want to throw her as far away from you as possible. But her stories, see, they just don't add up, no matter how big your abacus. Peter Lorre plays Peter Lorre, playing Joel Cairo, which is one of the best names of anything ever, any day ever. He's a fop who's sweaty and foreign and everything that's not American and just weaselly, but he knows his way around a gun, and maybe he can take a slap or two. Sidney Greenstreet plays Sidney Greenstreet, playing the Fat Man, Casper Gutman. He's obviously best remembered as the villain in the Panama Hat.
I am the villain in the Panama Hat.
The character of the Fat Man is so iconic that it was the code name given to the atomic bomb that was dropped over Nagasaki during World War II. One of the studio notes was to tone down the homophobia, but there are still definitely instances of that in this film. Before we even meet the character of Cairo, played by Peter Lorre, Mr. Spade's secretary tells him that Mr. Cairo's calling card and his handkerchief smell of gardenias. He's very concerned in his appearance and is concerned with his clothes because there's blood splattered on them. He has a fairly strange and intimate moment with his walking stick at one point, and maybe he likes getting slapped.
When you're slapped, you'll take it and like it.
One of the threads of this film is that Humphrey Bogart, Sam Spade, is accused of killing his partner, Archer. And so when the cops question him, one of the lines said by Spade is, "What's your boyfriend getting at, Tom?" And then there's Wilmer, who's kind of the bodyguard for the Fat Man, played by Elijah Cook Jr. There's tension going on, especially when Sam Spade calls him a gunsill. A gunsill was a young man who was the lover of an older, richer man. You talk about film noir, and this is what they called the proto-film noir, because it was kind of the first, and John Huston just nails it with the cinematography, with the lighting and the shadows. You know exactly what kind of film this is going to be from the second it starts, because there's never any sunlight. It's always dark. It makes California look like Transylvania. This is not a typical murder mystery. It's not one that starts and builds and ends. It's one that just kind of takes you along for a character study, for a ride. The only real mystery in this whole film is the death of Sam Spade's partner, Archer, played by Jerome Cowan. You can figure out who done it as it's happening. So it's not really that much of a mystery, and there's really nothing that happens that gets you to that point. Now, you think a movie called The Maltese Falcon, the mystery would be about the Maltese Falcon, gold jewel-encrusted statue that has been hidden in Europe since the 1400s. This is something that Hitchcock called a MacGuffin. The only reason it exists is to make the story move forward. And so the mystery of the Maltese Falcon doesn't mean much. It's simply a way to get everybody together. Just what moves things forward. Like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. What this movie actually reminded me most of was a video game. And this film was the cutscene. You didn't see the action and the shooting and the investigating and all that. You saw the part where that's all done and you enter a room and someone hits you in the back of the head, and then later it's woozy and you wake up, or someone slipped a Mickey into your drink, or it's just kind of almost a best of reel. In this one, it's just about dialogue and about the characters that come up and the way that the actors portray the characters. The Maltese Falcon is a really, really good film and a great noir. And the Blu-ray makes it look wonderful. One of the extras is a night at the theater, as it might have been done in 1941. So you have a cartoon, a newsreel, a serial, a short film, some previews, and then the Maltese Falcon. You can just have that all play at one time. The Maltese Falcon, it's as good as you heard it is. Next week, I'm watching Mrs. Miniver, and I have absolutely nothing to say about that. Until next time, I'm Uncle Tony. Hey, did you like that? Well then, why not subscribe and watch my other videos, and even leave a comment? And while you're doing that, watch a set of twins staring mysteriously into a mirror. Peculiar.